Hey guys, Mike here. So, boy, what another big move up today for the market. Probably surprised a lot of people, caught them off guard, thinking it's a holiday, the bond market's closed, probably mean low volume. And remember, don't matter what the volume is, as long as the majority of it's going in one direction, that's all that matters. So the market can really get pushed up. If it is a low volume day, it can really get pushed down, right? And so it's kind of like this grind today, going up after it shot up out of the gates when we first started. Again, no news day, okay? So there you go. No earnings to worry about. So, you know, when you open it up and you look and go, wow, look at all this gamuts of this levels right here, and options being bought up like crazy. And it just pushed the market up, you know, unbelievably, really, to where you got S&P setting a new all-time high, Dow new all-time high, Qs aren't far off. We'll look at these charts and stuff. NVIDIA going crazy and stuff, almost setting a new all-time high. Taiwan Semiconductors, new all-time high. And so we're going to get into all those charts and some more, because some stocks did make some pretty big moves off of news or just breaking out of major levels and stuff. So we'll talk about that. And, you know, will we finally get some sort of a pullback coming into the election, after the election? That's what I have to wait and see. I mean, volatility, the VIX is still, you know, pretty high up there. And usually it's much higher than what we normally see when we're setting all-time highs. But again, that's where we're at. But I did want to talk about two quick things with you and see if this is a surprise for you. Because we always talk about, you know, all this money sitting on the sidelines and the savings and all this fun stuff. But the one thing about America, if you don't know, if you're not from here, is most Americans don't save that much money. And you can see it right here. These two charts are very interesting. But the U.S. economy now relies entirely on foreign net savings. And these are foreigners' net savings in the U.S., right? So back in the day, natural-born citizens saved a lot of money, right? And then all of a sudden that fell off the cliff when the 80s came, and really fell off the cliff in the 2000s. But I'm not sure if you're aware of this, in other countries, savings is a really big deal. And what I mean by that is, just look at right here. Look at Japan. Look at these top countries. Japan, 39% is what they save. South Korea, 33%. Morocco's 25%. Sweden's 21%. Mexico's 21%, Denmark's 21%, France, Switzerland. So very high savings rates, okay, when it comes to what they save as far as the percentage of their income and stuff. And here's what's really sad about Americans, which is us. You scroll down here, we're way at the bottom. It's not just us. I mean, you got Australia, Norway, Spain, even worse than us, but 3.5%. 3.5%. And I'm curious to take a poll right here. Like, I know that's not my family. We say way more than 3.5% and put it, you know, in investments, whatever. But I'm curious, like, what do you think your savings rate is? And again, when you look, though, it makes sense, this number does, because over half the country lives paycheck to paycheck. There is no savings. I grew up in a family where there was zero savings. We were poor. All right, matter of fact, we were just in debt. That's what we were in. There was no such thing as savings, okay? And so, you know, I just saw the stats, and you're like, oh, man. It's just, and that's the way it is, generational thing, right? Other countries, they bring them up to be that way. Make sure you're saving. But, of course, what do we also talk about, you know, us versus other countries is other countries will say, well, we, you know, work to live. We work just enough to actually live, save, and all that good stuff. And we have a good time. We don't live keeping up with the Joneses or anything like that old saying in America. And here, we live to work. Right, you got people with 2 jobs, working 70 hours a week, all of this crazy stuff. And so I guess it shouldn't surprise a lot of people, but this one actually did surprise me. When it's saying here that now all of a sudden we're back to this level of households allocation to the stock market being at 48% versus like in the .com it's 48%. I got to be honest with you, I thought it'd be much higher. I thought his stocks are so easy to buy now. ETFs, and I'm assuming the way they calculate this, I'm assuming this includes 401ks and IRAs. Won't surprise me if it don't. But I'm surprised the number isn't higher just because how easy it is and how much retail investors or regular people like us are actually buying in the stock market. So let me know if that stat actually surprised you, because it definitely did me. And, you know, I hope a lot more people start saving money and having an emergency fund and stuff like that set aside. That'd be nice one day. But it's just tougher in our country and stuff, and some other countries as well. Now, when you look at the QQQ, obviously about 1% from all-time highs now. Another move up today, as you can see. Again, you know, 485 we talked about. As long as that holds, you're good to go. You could see some consolidation. When it comes to the SPY, again, another day, another new all-time high. And, you know, when you're looking here to say, okay, what kind of levels could we be going to? over the next 2 to 3 months, you know, and you kind of will pull this down so you can see this. But again, we've already hit one of them, the 586, I think it was. You could be looking at 590. Above that, as we pull this down to 1.618 fib, around 598, 600 right there. Again, a lot of people got a 6,000 target for year end on the S&P. Again, Dow, another day, another all-time high as well. IWM, we talked about how it broke out this bull flag right here, continued up today, and you can see the resistance levels for the intermediate, right? Like 224, 225, up around 227 right there. And so when we kind of scroll back, you can see that's not all-time highs right there. All-time highs, we go to the weekly, is over here, okay, around 235.06, I believe it is. And so we'll see if small caps continue to move up with the rest of them, because they were lagging a lot today. They caught up later on. Now, NVIDIA, again, every time we said we broke one of these white lines, which was resistance, it's moved up very close to all-time highs, which is around 140 right there. And so, you know, looking at this one, obviously 135.50 needs to be turned back into support. I think to move back up, it has a lot of call flow to it, a lot of call sweeps been rolling in on this one, no surprise. And when you look, you know, where can this one go over the next 3 months if we continue this bullishness? You know, 1.272 fibs, 145, 150, and then around 153.50 right there is where we could see it, right? I mean, that's what, there's no surprise. We know when NVIDIA gets rolling, and again, we got a lot of semiconductor earnings coming out. So imagine if they actually hit, right, on a lot of these. We showed us a lot of these yesterday and how they were setting up. Taiwan Semiconductor set a new all-time high today. So I'd love to see a bounce right there around 135 before it moved higher, because I hate it when stocks just move up and literally set no support levels for itself, really. And the air is very thin up there, right? I mean, you look at ARM, this one's moving up the channel. It's been moving up nicely since the beginning of October right here. Top of that channel is around like 170 right there. And so, you know, that's all-time highs for this one as well. You can see right there. We go back to the daily, and we'll pull up the volume profile. And you can tell it's just kind of eating right through the volume gap, run into resistance right here. If it gets above it, obviously you can hit the top of that channel, grind through another volume profile to get up to all-time highs. If not, obviously you can get rejected here, come back down to the bottom of this channel, which also will come right through this volume gap right here. And then maybe you should get to see a bounce, okay? I don't know when they report earnings. I have to look on this one. But you can see, obviously, it's getting close to being in overbought territory. But again, last time that happened, it just kept going. All right, and we are in a bullish time for semiconductors. AMSC, American Superconductor Corporation, is another one sitting there. It can go either way, right? You can come back down this volume gap, very small pullback. But if it breaks above, there really just not a lot of resistance. A lot of these are just sitting there with very few resistance points going forward if they start to turn bullish. This one will report in November, so it's got a while before earnings. So I'll put this trend line here to see if this is going to continue to bounce. This is basically just been kind of consolidating in the same range you can see right there for about 2 weeks now. And so there's another one to watch out for. You can see even the RSI is telling you it's just kind of consolidating, waiting for a nice move. And so I can see that one definitely going higher. Then you look over here and there's Tesla, right? Held this trend line twice now, got below it, got down, I think it was 214.50 today, if I'm not mistaken, and then had a nice bounce back to almost 220, got a big gap above it right here. You know, they report earnings, I believe it's next week. I could be wrong about that. I'll have to double check on that one. But you see with the MACD, you do not want this to go below the zero line. If it does, without curling up, obviously that could be more downside. As we brought this volume profile up and everything and talked about this, you know, you want the RSI to be above the 50. You want the MACD not to go below that zero line. That's for sure. You can kind of see when this comes back up, you get really, really nice moves. And we pull it open, the volume profile before. So I've showed you the conundrum this one is basically in right here. And you can see it. It's sitting there where, okay, if I lose this level, I come down this volume gap. I'm going down probably to 200. But again, volume gaps can go either way, right? So I can push right back up. And earnings could absolutely do that, okay? Now, Google, you can see inverse head and shoulders. Actually, a very nice inverse head and shoulders here, right? And so you want to see 170 break to kind of confirm maybe this nice breakout. That trend line would definitely be resistance right there, as you can see. We bring up the moving averages. Also, right where that neckline is, you'll have the 100 moving average. You can see the 50 trying to curl up. 200 still inclined up. Let me get rid of all these weeklies so you can see it even easier right there. But you're basically waiting on 170 to try to break above that 100, above that neckline to confirm, see if this starts to do a breakout. And again, that trend line, which sets around 180, 181, will also be resistance, because when we kind of scroll back here, you can see it was support for quite a while and then resistance. Okay, so again, this was a resistance support flip, or however we want to call it right there. There's another inverse head and shoulders that actually did work out for this one. So it likes the inverse head and shoulders. Okay, and you see the target will be all-time new highs. And again, this one going to report earnings, I believe, next week as well. So that could be the one that pushes it up. We'll have to see. You got some gaps up there. It could be filled as well. So let me know what you think about Google. Again, that's one of the cleanest inverse head and shoulders I've actually seen in quite a while, if I do say so myself. Now, SOFI, we talked about yesterday. I didn't expect some explosive move up. Again, it's not really a big mover, but they actually had news today. So again, we blew right through 2 levels I had marked yesterday. But what happened was, again, that's a news candle. SOFI expands loan platform business with $2 billion agreement with Fortress Investment Group. And so the market liked that. And so now all of a sudden you're sitting there hitting $10. And so, you know, looking at the RSI, again, this one is getting pretty high up there, but it has been higher twice in the past, and not much higher, but it has been higher. And of course, each time it gets pretty far up there like that, you get a nice pullback in this one. So, you know, fintech's been on fire since the Fed really started cutting rates and things like that. And the economy seems to be, what they tell us, strong and all that good stuff. So this one was just the slowest mover out of all of them, really, if you think about it. I mean, look at it. I think it was a firm, Upstart's move today was just incredible. But again, this isn't some low float stock and all that good stuff. So, you know, you can see and by the way, that's all-time highs way over there. Okay, so this one has a long way to go if it was ever going to get back there. And so again, 1050, usually where you're looking at. Obviously, I'm looking for a pullback consolidation on this one after that news candle. So let's see what happens on that one. When it comes to earnings tomorrow, we're looking at Citigroup, Bank of America, which I've heard all kinds of stuff about. We'll see if that's true. Johnson & Johnson, Progressive, a lot of other regional banks right there. And then you'll have United Airlines. We'll hear about them bragging about travel probably. Who knows, but we'll see. And then when it comes to, again, news, you know, bank holiday was Monday. That was the day. And guess what? Empire State Manufacturing Index. So not a lot going on for news at all tomorrow. You see some decent earnings, which will come out. Again, the major ones are usually Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday here. So we'll see how the market wants to handle this move up today. So please hit that like, subscribe button on your way out. Feel free to sign up for the membership, Less Than McDonald's combo. And I will see you guys tomorrow to wrap it up.